Guess who's back? Eminem's back, in fact, with the new album Relapse. It was released the day before yesterday here in the UK, which would have been the 18th of May 2009. And this is going to be a bit different from my other videos in which I've talked about my DVD collection. Today I'm going to be talking about my Eminem collection on CD and DVD. I'm quite a big Eminem fan, have been since the days of the Slim Shady LP, which is his first commercially released CD. But it wasn't the beginning of the Eminem story. That started back in 1995, I think, 95 or 96, when he released Infinite. This is his very first album, and it's never actually been officially released on CD. It was released on vinyl and tape, I believe. But although the copies are really, really difficult to find, and most of the copies you'll find these days are bootlegs like this one, and it's taken from the record. It's mastered from the record, so it kind of sounds scratchy like a vinyl LP. But it's really, really interesting. Actually, it's a pretty good album. It's quite different to what you'd expect from Eminem. Like, there's a lot of the violent imagery and kind of harsh lyrics that he's famous for weren't present back then. It's before he really came up with the Slim Shady persona, so it's just very much himself rapping about his life in Detroit and kind of having no money, which are themes which he talks about later on as well. But yeah, here it kind of you sort of feel like he's singing as him, not, he's rapping as himself in this album. And it's interesting, though. He talks about having a kid on the way. Obviously, that's his daughter, Hayley. This was before she was born. And kind of trying to make ends meet. And then that was followed by the big success, which was the Slim Shady LP. This is when I first got into Eminem, and I can imagine a lot of other people did as well, when he released My Name Is. And this is a really good CD. It's really good fun. Obviously, it's a lot to do with his Slim Shady persona. So you have some pretty crazy lyrics on here and some pretty dark shit. But it's really good. It's very well produced. I think Dr. Dre had a lot to do with it, and it's got some great tunes on there. My Name Is, Guilty Conscience, and many others. Just Don't Give a Fuck, that kind of stuff. So yes, do indeed check that out. It's a very good album. And it was followed by the Marshall Mathers LP a year later, I believe. Oh yeah, before the Slim Shady LP, there was the Slim Shady EP as well, which is basically it's a lot of the tracks which were on it are repeated on the Slim Shady LP. But it was his kind of it was the release of a few tracks on a CD which drew Dr. Dre's attention, and he then went on to make the Slim Shady LP. I haven't actually got the Slim Shady EP. I don't think it was officially released, or if it was released on CD, it's really difficult to get hold of now. I'll track down a bootleg one day, but as I said, a lot of the songs are repeated on the LP, so it's not a big deal. Okay, the Marshall Mathers LP. This was really, really good. I think, was even more successful than the Slim Shady LP. And it's got some great tunes on it. Again, very, very well produced by Dr. Dre, I believe, executive producer Dr. Dre, yeah. There's great stuff on here, stuff like The Real Slim Shady, The Way I Am, Marshall Mathers, and there's a really dark song called Kim, which is basically just him screaming throughout at his wife. I don't know if she was his wife or his ex-wife at that stage, Kim. But, yeah, they've been married and divorced so many times that I lose track. They probably do as well. But, yeah, this is really cool. I'm not sure if this covers like a special edition or something, or if this was the standard cover in Europe, or maybe America, you guys might know. But there's another cover as well with like Eminem sleeping on the streets. But this is quite cool. Apparently this is the house he grew up in, if you can see it. But yeah, really good. Lyrically, is really a step up from the Slim Shady LP. You know, his flow is just like, it's much more complex, and like the rhyming structure is really, really cool. It's really unusual as well. I remember when I first listened to this, I'd never quite heard rapping as good, I think, before. But yeah, so check that one out. That's probably his darkest album. This one was released a couple of years after that, The Eminem Show. And I'd probably listen to this one the least, actually, of all his albums. I wouldn't say it's my least favourite, but I just think I overplayed it when it first came out. It's still got some great stuff on there. Cleaning Out My Closet, Business. Without Me, that's quite good fun song. Till I Collapse, I like that one. But yeah, as I said, I overplayed this when it first came out, so I hardly ever listened to it anymore. But it's pretty good. And this is the limited edition one, which has got a bonus CD, no, bonus DVD actually, with I think it's got a couple of episodes of that cartoon that he did. It's the Flash cartoon. I can't remember what it's called. I think it was like the Slim Shady Show or something, but it was pretty poor actually. So I didn't. I've only watched it once or twice. And there's a whole DVD available with the entire series on, but I haven't bothered buying that. Okay. Then after the Eminem show, a couple of years after, we had Encore. This was really good. I remember really, really liking this when it first came out, and I still listen to quite a few tracks on it. It's really well produced. There's some really good tunes with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent on there as well, like Never Enough. I really like that. Yellow Brick Road, that's cool. My First Single, I really like that one. Yeah, hardly anybody ever talks about it, but again, the rhymes are really complex in it. It's got a really fast beat, and that's cool. Just Lose It, that was a pretty weak single, but it's quite good fun. It's a good dance tune. Yeah, and he even has a go at singing, I think, on a Mockingbird later on on the album, track 16. That's pretty good though. And this is the European Special Edition. The content's pretty similar to the regular edition, except I think there's an extra CD which wasn't in the original, which is Stan's Mixtape. It's not that one. This is the one. Oh no, hang on. What have I got here? Bonus CD. Oh no, Stan's Mixtape must be in something else. But yeah, there's We As Americans, Love You More, and Ricky Tikki Tok. They're all pretty good tunes. We As Americans is really, really good. And I think it should have been on the main album. It should have got rid of Mosh, which I didn't think was very good. But it's kind of a political protest song in the same vein as Mosh, but better. And yeah, this comes with like art cards. I think these are pretty similar to the booklet and in the other release, the other CD release, but they're quite cool. They kind of tell a little story about him going out on stage for a last encore and killing the audience, which is kind of the story of the album as well. Okay, then after that, we had... oh no, hang on, before we get to that, there's Curtain Call, which is basically just a greatest hits collection. There's a couple of new tracks on there, like, what's it called? Oh, the one with Shake That, yeah, with Nate Dogg, that's pretty good. And, oh, this has got Stan's Mixtape in it, sorry, yeah, with Dead Wrong, which is a tune he did with Notorious B.I.G., which is really good. There's a pretty good verse on there. Criminal, Renegade, Jay-Z, just a couple of tunes from the past, which might not have been included in other releases. And, oh, I've got a Beastie Boys album in there as well. That's got nothing to do with it. But again, yeah, I've got most of those tracks anyway on other albums, but I just thought I'd buy it because, you know, just to have the full set. And then there was a big hiatus, and he came back with Relapse, which I've listened to a couple of times now, and it's really, really good. I think it's probably his strongest album since the Marshall Mathers LP. I think stylistically it's probably closest to the Slim Shady LP, his very first one, if you don't count Infinite. Yeah, he kind of, you feel like he's talking through the Slim Shady persona for a lot of it, but it still deals with themes of the kind of shit he's been going through in the last couple of years, like the death of Proof and his drug addictions. His best friend Proof, by the way, he used to be in D12. And there's some really good tunes on here. 3AM's a good tune. I think that's being released as a single. What else? Bagpipes from Baghdad, that's really, really good. Medicine Ball, that's very good. And there's a Paul skit and a Steve Berman skit, as in previous albums, but with a kind of a bit of a different twist. Deja Vu, that's probably kind of the most honest song on here. I think you really get an idea of his experiences in rehab and that kind of thing. But it's really well produced. His rhyming, again, is really complex. But the beats are quite simple, actually. They're done by Dr. Dre, and you can really tell... sorry, it's my phone going off in the background, you can probably hear. But it mixes really well with his kind of, his complex lyrics. His complex lyrical style mixes really well with the simplistic beats, that's what I'm trying to say. But it's really, really good, well worth the wait, and I'm looking forward to Relapse 2, which is apparently coming out later in the year. It's kind of a sequel album with more tracks on, but if it's half as good as this, then I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, and I've got some Eminem DVDs as well. I haven't got much time to show you, so there's the Up and Smoke tour, which is a really cool live tour. All Access Europe, which is a documentary about a tour. The Anger Management tour, which is a tour, and Eminem E, which is a load of videos, and they're cool. Okay, so keep it real. I'll see you in a video in the future. Bye bye.